Here's a moment you've probably experienced dozens of times a day. You need to find something. Your cursor hovers over a new tab, and you pause. Should I Google this or ask ChatGPT? Sometimes you guess right. Sometimes you spend 10 minutes reading through search results when AI could have explained it in 30 seconds. Sometimes you trust an AI answer that's confidently wrong when search would have shown you the actual source. The hesitation wastes time. But more importantly, choosing wrong sends you down the wrong path entirely. Today, we're ending that guessing game. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly which tool to use every single time in about 3 seconds. This uncertainty happens constantly, and it's more than just a minor annoyance. You're sitting there asking yourself, Google or ChatGPT? Will search be faster, or should I just ask AI? Which one actually gives better answers for what I need right now? Both tools are incredibly powerful, both can help you, but they work in fundamentally different ways, which means they're good at fundamentally different things. Using the wrong one isn't just slower, it can give you worse results, or in some cases, completely wrong information that you then base decisions on. So, what happens when you pick wrong? Three main consequences, and they all add up. First, you waste time searching when AI could have been instant. You spend 10 minutes clicking through articles and reading different explanations when AI could have given you a clear conversational explanation in 2 minutes. Second, you trust AI for facts when search would be accurate. You accept an answer that sounds totally plausible, but is actually incorrect because you didn't verify it against actual sources. And third, without understanding which tool does what, you're just guessing every time based on habit or convenience rather than capability. So here's what we're covering today. First, we'll understand what search engines actually do, the retrieval process, and how search finds existing information. Then we'll look at what AI actually does, how pattern completion creates new content instead of retrieving it. We'll identify when each is the right tool for specific tasks. And finally, I'll give you a framework so simple you can decide in about 3 seconds. By the end, no more hesitation, no more guessing, just confident choices that get you the right answers fast. Let's start with search engines. At their core, search engines are retrieval systems. They don't create anything new, they show you where existing information lives on the web. Here's the process. Search engines crawl billions of web pages, indexing their content. When you type a query, the search engine matches your words to that indexed content. It ranks results by relevance and authority. Then it shows you links, pointers to where that information exists. Every search result is a reference to something that's already published somewhere. You're getting a map, not a summary. Here's an analogy that makes this crystal clear. Think of search engines like a librarian in a huge library. You walk up and ask for books about a specific topic. The librarian shows you exactly where those books are located on the shelves. You then walk over and read the books yourself and find what you need. The librarian doesn't write new books for you, they don't create summaries, they point you to existing resources. Search engines work exactly the same way. You type what you're looking for, search shows you where it lives, you click through and read the original sources. Neither librarians nor search engines create new content tailored to your needs. They excel at pointing you to what already exists. So, when does search excel? When you need specific current information that changes frequently. Today's weather, latest stock prices, breaking news, current events, things that are different today than they were yesterday. Search is perfect when you need to see original sources, research papers you can cite, official statements you can verify, primary documents where accuracy is absolutely critical and you need to trace information back to its origin. And search gives you factual accuracy because it's showing you links to real published content that you can verify independently. When accuracy and currency matter most, you need to know what's actually true and what's actually happening right now. Search engines are your tool. Now, let's talk about what AI actually does. This takes us back to video one, the foundation of this entire series. AI is pattern completion. It's trained on billions of examples of human text, learning patterns from all that data. When you give it a prompt, AI generates new text based on those learning patterns. Here's what's crucial to understand. AI doesn't have a database of facts it looks up. It doesn't search for information somewhere. It doesn't retrieve anything from anywhere. It creates responses based on predicting what text should come next on the patterns it learned during training. It's generation, not retrieval. Here's an analogy for AI. Think of it like a skilled writer. You describe what kind of content you need. Maybe you want an explanation of a complex topic. The writer creates something entirely new for you, based on their knowledge and experience. They're not looking things up in references as they write, they're synthesizing from their understanding and memory, putting it in their own words. AI works the same way. You provide a prompt describing your needs. AI generates new tailored text to your request based on patterns it learned during training. It's not retrieving information from a database, it's creating explanations on the fly. And just like a writer working from memory, AI can be confidently wrong about specific facts. A writer might misremember a date or mix up details. AI can generate plausible sounding information that's actually incorrect. So, when does AI excel? Well, when you need complex concepts explained simply. AI can break down difficult ideas into clear, understandable language tailored to your level of expertise. This is genuinely where AI shines, making complex accessible through conversation. AI is fantastic at synthesizing information you provide. Give it multiple documents or concepts, and it'll combine them into coherent explanations, finding connections you might have missed. It's perfect for creating content based on patterns, drafting emails, brainstorming ideas, writing codes, generating creative content, and crucially, AI enables conversational back and forth. You can iterate on ideas, ask follow up questions, request examples, and refine your understanding through dialogue. AI excels when you need understanding, creation, or synthesis. Let's put this side by side so the contrast is absolutely clear. Search retrieves existing content. AI generates new content. Search shows you sources you can click through to. AI creates explanations from scratch. Search is accurate to what's been published on the web. AI is useful for understanding concepts based on the patterns it learned. Search is good for facts, dates, and sources, anything where you need precision and verification. AI is good for explanations, synthesis, and creation, anything where you need to understand or new content generated. One retrieves, one creates. One is your librarian, one is your writer. One points you to information, one synthesizes it for you. Knowing this difference is the foundation for making the right choice instantly, every single time. Let's get specific about when to use search. Use search when you need specific facts, dates, statistics, definitions. Precise information where accuracy matters and you need it to be correct, not just plausible. Use search for current information that changes frequently. News that broke today, prices that fluctuate, status updates that are time sensitive. Use search when you need original sources you can cite, studies you're referencing, official statements you need to quote, primary documents where provenance matters. And use search for verification, when you need to check if something is actually true by seeing the original published source. If you can ask, where is this published or what's the source, search is your tool. Now for when to use AI. Use AI when you need explanations. How does photosynthesis work? Explain blockchain like I'm five. What's the difference between these two concepts? Questions where you want understanding, not links. Use AI for synthesis, comparing multiple approaches, identifying what concepts have in common, summarizing documents you've uploaded. Use AI for creation, drafting emails, brainstorming ideas for a project, writing code that does something specific, outlining a presentation you need to give. And use AI for conversation, when you need to ask it follow ups immediately, request examples on the spot. try different angles, or refine your understanding iteratively. If you can ask, can you explain or can you create? AI is your tool. And here's the framework that makes this decision take 3 seconds instead of 30. Every time you're about to search for something or ask AI something, ask yourself one simple question. Am I looking for something that exists or creating something new? That's it. That's the entire framework. If what you need already exists somewhere, a fact that's published, a source you can cite, current information that's out there, verification of something, you search to find it. If you need something new created or explained, understanding a concept, synthesizing ideas, generating content, having a conversation, use AI to create it. Exists or create. 3 seconds. Done. This is the slide to remember. Now let's talk about the two most common mistakes people make. First, using AI for factual questions. Things like, what's the capital of Australia? When did that company announce their Q3 earnings? What's the current exchange rate for euros to US dollars? Here's why this is wrong. AI generates plausible answers based on patterns, not facts. It might be right. Capitals don't change often, so the pattern is probably correct. But you have no way to know for certain without checking. Remember our discussion of hallucinations in video 3? AI can confidently state incorrect information because it's completing patterns, not looking up facts. Search retrieves actual facts from published sources you can immediately verify. For factual questions where accuracy matters, skip the risk entirely. Just use search. The second common mistake, using search for explanations. You Google something like, how does photosynthesis work? And you get 10 different articles. Some are too technical, some are too simple. They're written for different audiences with different levels of complexity. Now you have to read through them all, figure out which parts are relevant to your level, and synthesize the information yourself. You spend 15 minutes just to understand a concept. Better approach? Ask AI to explain it simply. You get one clear, coherent example tailored to your knowledge level. It's interactive. If you don't understand something, you ask immediately and it clarifies. You understand in 2 minutes instead of 15. Search isn't bad for explanations, it just isn't efficient. You end up doing all the synthesis work yourself when AI can do the synthesis for you. This brings us to an interesting development, search-enabled AI. Remember our discussion of agents in video 6? This is a perfect example of AI using tools to overcome its limitations. Here's how it works. AI recognizes when your question requires current or factual information, something that exists and changes. It uses a search tool to retrieve relevant current sources from the web. Then it reads those sources and creates a clear explanation tailored to you, synthesizing the information. And crucially, it shows you the sources so you can verify everything. This is the best of both worlds. AI synthesis capabilities combined with search's factual accuracy. The AI knows when to create and when to retrieve, automatically choosing the right approach for your specific question. Let's see how the 3 second decision framework works with actual questions you might ask. First scenario, latest iPhone price. Which tool? Search. Why? This is current factual information that exists on retail websites. Prices change frequently, and you need the accurate current price, not a generated estimate that might be outdated. Second scenario, explain quantum computing simply. Which tool? Yeah, AI. Why? This needs synthesis and explanation. You want understanding, not a link to a physics paper you have to decode yourself. AI can tailor the explanation to your level and answer follow ups immediately. Third scenario, recent AI developments and what they mean. Which tool? Search enabled AI. Why? This needs both current facts, what actually happened recently, and synthesis, what those developments mean for you. Search enabled AI retrieves the latest news and then explains the implications in plain language. See how the decision quickly becomes once you understand exists versus create? So here's what changes in your workflow starting today. Stop guessing about which tool to use. Every time you open a new tab, ask yourself, exists or create? That instant question gives you your answer. Facts and current information, use search. When you need accuracy, sources you can cite, or verification of what's actually true, search shows you what's actually published. Explanations and creation, use AI. When you need understanding, synthesis of multiple concepts, or new content generated, AI creates it for you in real time. Need both facts and explanation? Use search-enabled AI. When you need current information explained, like recent developments and what they mean, use AI with search capabilities. And here's the important caveat. Always verify important facts regardless of what tool you used. AI can hallucinate. Search can surface misinformation. For anything that matters, check the sources. And that wraps up video 7. Understanding which tool does what isn't just about efficiency, it's about confidence. When you understand the fundamental difference between retrieval and generation, between search and AI, you stop hesitating and start working. You ask better questions, you get better answers, you trust your results appropriately. This kind of understanding, knowing which tools actually do, not just what they claim to do, this is what helps you work smarter. No more guessing, no more wasted time, just confident decisions. If you found this useful, subscribe for more practical AI guidance that cuts through the hype and gives you frameworks you can actually use. And if you're thinking about implementing AI in your organization and want help figuring out which tools make sense for which tasks, that's exactly what we do at Eau Claire AI. Check out the link in the description. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.